there's all kinds of scenes that I respond to in movies. I respond to music sequences. I respond to big comedy sequences. It was like they galvanized the entire theater. Everybody woke up. Everybody got connected, and and I would go see a film that had a sequence like that. I would see it 2 or 3 times at the theaters just to see that sequence, and then just to have that experience with an audience.
All right, here we go. Welcome to Making Tarantino. Did you give me permission? I don't
I
know if
did,
you
but
need to
I'm gonna do
now.
my thing of getting
Oh,
off
okay.
frame.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, like where'd Greg go? Welcome to Making Tarantino, the podcast. I'm your host, Philip Duke. On this podcast, we go through a list of movies that Quentin Tarantino likes or recommends to see what they're all about. If maybe they've influenced his work, there will be spoilers because we'll be talking about more than used cars here. Today, I'm joined once again by Craig MacNeil from Craig and Friends podcast. Hello, Craig.
Hello, Philip. I am so excited to be back with you on this
Yes.
show, which I love so very much, and so many others do. And in tribute to the fella it's
The
named
one guy,
after.
the one guy
Yeah,
in
all the folks
Kentucky.
that you
Yeah.
named this show after, the consortium.
Yeah.
I have some goobers with me. It's his favorite movie, candy. Happens to be mine. Mix it with popcorn. Oh boy, is that a good time?
That's what I hear mixed with popcorn. I'll
Yeah.
have to try it
And I'm
sometime.
in a secret location, not in the United
Oh,
States. So
yeah, you're like
you
Art.
can't get them
You
here.
and Art Bell's right next to you off mic, off camera,
That's right.
which
I
is
tilt
weird
the
because it's just his casket. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's why I don't show it because of legal problems.
George Nori's holding it up. Um
And also having me on for this, I love this movie and I don't get to talk about it as much as I would like to because as many people know, it's it's more appreciated now, but it's a bit underseen. And I don't think folks who haven't seen it get or know have they have any idea how intense this movie is in social commentary and it's so good. Social
yeah.
commentary, a joke a second,
Yeah.
but not slapstick. And again, all I can say again is the commentary on political system, consumerism,
Yeah.
and morality.
And where it's going this certain way and then it takes that turn and now you're like,
Yes.
"Oh, and you got Al Lewis in it. Like, come on."
Yeah, you've already
Um
gotten to this point, and then you go, "Holy shit, Al Lewis!"
Yeah, that's that guy from Car 54. Where are you? That's where I know him. I
Exactly.
don't. Was he in
Yeah.
anything else? Um, they said he was really happy to be in this because he hadn't been doing anything, and this was finally where he could play something different.
And he was a little grouchy.
Which,
And
yeah,
this prefigures, of course, Fred Gwynn and My Cousin Vinny.
yeah, yeah. And what they should have done, put Al Lewis in Pet Cemetery too.
Was he in one?
But he might have died. No, but Fred Gwynn was in the first.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. But
He
yeah,
used to get furious.
did you say the two Utes? Yeah,
That's a genius performance.
that's right.
Also, he used to get furious when people would ask him about. That was the Munsters,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. During the period when he had an art show and Howard Stern
Oh wow.
sent Stuttering John to ask him questions about the Munsters, and he was incensed
Yeah.
because he was a serious actor,
Yeah.
Shakespeare trained actor.
Yeah.
That classic thing.
Yeah. It's the thing where it's only small time for them, like William Shatner and those guys are on Star Trek for 3 years. It's a
Yeah,
blip, and then they're like, now I got to go find work, and then the cartoon comes out, so now they're doubling down, and now the movies are coming out in the 1980, and now they're like, I guess we're in this, and Leonard Nimoy being like, no, I'm done, I don't want to be that guy, and they're like, but
yeah.
come on, okay, you
And he
can
goes, "Okay,
direct.
I'll direct it."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they'll go,
If I can
"That's
direct,
cool." Oh,
yeah,
now
if
we
I
got to
can
let Bill
direct
direct one.
three,
Uh-oh.
yeah. Oh, we got to let Bill direct five. Um,
And I
but
think all those guys like made peace with that, but I think, and that was a different era too, where
yeah,
people would think. But I'm a serious. I imagine like Al Pacino, after all
mhm,
the stage work he did, suddenly was in, like making it with the David Naughton show, but
Well,
it took off. Thus, yeah,
yeah. I thought you were thinking losing it with Tom Cruise, like he's right there next to Tom Cruise.
yeah. He
The
was originally considered for the Jackie Earl Haley role.
yeah. The have you been do you follow Jackie Earl Haley on Instagram?
No,
He's
I
got
should.
some fun little thing where he's like, oh, it's raining outside, whatever. Anyway, it's pretty cool. Um, the something that we talked about, I got to say Ron Palillo finally on the show, which will
Wonderful.
be out next week. Because we
Oh,
were
good.
talking about the movie Charlie One Eye that I'm
Yeah,
doing next week, how that Richard Roundtree was like, oh, I can get out of the Shaft thing. Like he's right in the
yeah,
middle of doing the trilogy, and he's like, oh, I can do this. And he goes to do this other thing, and it doesn't really hit, and he isn't really able to do anything else. And then we were talking about how Fred Williamson like leaned into the blaxploitation and was like, I'm all in, let's do it. And
yeah,
and I said, yeah, it's like, oh, this does tie back. Used cars. You got Lenny and Squiggy because they're like, this is a comic duo. They're so great. Let's get them
yes.
on. And I said, oh, and he helped me with the name Dave
Landers.
Landers. Because I want to say Warner for some reason, but
Oh, actually, sorry. I think it's
that's
I
a
think
guy
it's
from,
Lander.
I think you're right. It's L
Yeah,
Lander. I have it
and,
written
and
right here. All I have to do is scroll down here. Um,
but why
but
why bother doing that, right?
oh, too late. I'm already here. Yeah, David L. Lander. And
Lander. Okay, yeah,
but it's that thing of like where he, Michael McKean goes off and does other things and is in Airheads and is in
and
that's the
not that
only
long
thing I
after
know that
this,
guy
this is
from.
Spinal Tap.
Yeah. Oh, this I only know him from Airheads. Yes.
What's the only good thing he did?
Yeah,
Spinal
yeah,
Tap.
yeah, yeah.
Bleh. Yeah,
But it is that thing of like trying to break out of that and do something different,
yeah.
and people just won't take it or whatever. Did you want to tell anybody about you or what
Oh
about your
yes,
podcast or
I
anything?
host the show and produce, etc. Craig and Friends, a show that unfortunately Phil has not been on yet because we've had scheduling difficulties and creative differences. No,
Yeah,
we have not.
exactly. He's
We're
like, "Can we do Triumph of the Will?" And I'm like, "I don't like Hitler as much as you." And you're like, "I'll get somebody else." Yeah. Instead, in,
Can
instead
you
of like we
timestamp
can.
this and just nip that out of the show? Thank you very much. This ain't the time or
Oh,
place
so
politically.
it's okay. Okay.
Well,
I
he's
knew that
saying
was
that,
you.
folks. It's why it's funny
Yeah.
is because I couldn't be further away from
Yes.
that in
Yes.
general in my politics, etc.
Yes. Yes. Of
So
course.
Craig and Friends talked to a lot of queer folk, but also mainly it is I'm queer myself, so I'm not talking about them like zoo
Yeah.
animals.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I go and talk to queer folk, and
Yeah.
guess what? They're just like us.
Can you believe
So
they drink milk like I do? Yeah.
do you know that they like action movies, not just Tu Wong Fu? It's
Yeah. Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So there's that cultural anthropology
Yeah.
aspect, but I talked to a lot of folks who touched our culture, and not in a Nicky way.
Mhm.
People like Mike
Yeah.
Chapman, the man who wrote and produced no, didn't produce, sorry, wrote Ballroom Blitz, and also Simply the Best for Tina Turner, so on and so forth. I mean,
And
just countless songs.
that handsome lady, he did her handsome lady in Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's
Yeah.
right, Lita
Yeah.
Ford.
You
Yeah,
cracked me
he's
up when you
that's
said handsome lady. I'm like, you were so right. Like,
right. Yeah,
yeah.
the handsome lady known as Lita Ford.
It's like when
Her
I look at a photo of my mother, my friends see it and they go, "Is that you on one of those face swapping apps? Because it looks like you as a woman." And I'm like, "No,
that's
it's my
funny.
mom. I just look like my mom."
It's my
So
beautiful
yeah,
mom. Thank
yeah,
you very much.
yeah.
So
It's a
yes,
handsome,
Lita
handsome
Ford,
mother.
from Lita Ford to Tina Turner
Yeah,
to producing the Knack,
yeah.
and producing all of the Big Blondie records. So Mike and then Michael DeBar, I have a show with the two of them, and they're wonderful spouses, Maddie and Britta, coming up very soon. And also Paul Williams. I got an exciting one I can't breathe word of coming sometime later in the year. And who else? Who else?
Well, and
Folks
then
from Drag Race.
well, the one that you had, the one girl, the one trans. Forgive me for not.
That's
But
all right.
you did Grease too, which I got a show. I got the
Oh, Eureka O'Hara. Excuse me.
well, like
Eureka O'Hara.
well, like
Eureka O'Hara let's call the whole thing off.
Tennessee accent was like,
Yes.
I could hear a little bit of the Tennessee accent. It was so much fun, and she had so much fun.
I
But
loved her in the Grease
also,
2 episode. That was fantastic. Yeah,
but
so that's the
also,
movie club portion.
yeah. Right after that was when I told you I found it, and you were like, "Yeah, fucking buy it." And I'm like, "Oh, it's got a dent in it." But anyway,
Hey, that's okay. So does the film.
I know,
So,
right?
it's fine. So
Um,
other folks, a whole
but the
cavalcade
person,
of exciting people, and
the
soon to
person,
have Phil.
the person that, yes, for sure, the person who did the music for, the Angry Inch, that was a really
Stephen
good one.
Trask.
Stephen
Thank
Trask,
you. And
that
I
was
had
really good.
the other creator of that, the co-creator John Cameron Mitchell on,
Mhm.
and I actually have a gigantic Hedwig and the Angry Inch movie club coming
Cool.
out sometime this year with Stephen, John, the cinematographer Frank. This is great. I'm forgetting his name right now. Thank you. Um, and Mike Potter, the hair and makeup person, and one or two others, including Davina DeCampo, who is a wonderful artist. So yeah,
Well,
there's a lot of that later in the year. To Live and Die in L.A., the super giant one, and part 2 at some point of all that jazz.
cool. Before you do that one, you need to watch that Tiger King movie that John did. It was really like really cool. Like he just, it was really
Well,
neat
I've seen Band
to
of the
see him
Hand,
in that.
so I know his
I
work.
Look, I went to the theater and saw Band of the Hand twice because I loved it. And that
Wow.
was before you know who Stephen Lang is. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, like who's this guy in Avatar? Who's this guy in, whatever? And
And
you're
he
like,
looks
oh,
completely different, behaves completely
yeah,
differently, and than he does in Manhunter, which is
yeah.
not that far away chronologically. John Cameron Mitchell, for those who are not familiar with the film or his role in it, he plays the young punk guy with the spiky orange hair.
Ah, okay. I knew you said that and I knew there was a tie-in, but I forgot. But thank you.
You're
Now I got to
welcome.
go buy Band of the Hand. Um, Rate, review, and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I still call it Twitter. And if you want more
You
talk
should.
like this, I do. You can go to Phil on Cinema on Patreon and hear I have a Shaping Scorsese, the podcast. It's just like this podcast, but Scorsese. I did like a movie that I love, Zorro the Gay Blade. I put up like press kit, like scans on there. And it's 2 episodes a month. And I did physical media collecting, and Craig was on that one. And 2 episodes a month for $5. Why wouldn't you sign up? You'd be a
Exactly.
fool.
You're losing money not
Yeah,
signing up,
yeah.
as you are when you don't sign up for patreon.com/Craig and Friends. So there's a whole host of exciting secret materials coming out soon
That
on that.
is. It's very cool. And being as Video Archives going away, just sign up for our thing until Video Archives comes back. Do that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now on with the show. The tagline, like new, great looking, and fully loaded with laughs. Used Cars, 1980. The plot: when the owner of a struggling used car lot is killed, it's up to the lot's hotshot salesman to save the property from falling into the hands of the owner's ruthless brother and used car rival. So good. And Jack Warden.
So good.
I used to watch Crazy Like Fox all the time.
Wow, I haven't
um,
heard that. No one speaks of that
yeah,
anymore.
yeah. That's why
It was a
you
series, folks, I think on
yeah,
CBS.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah. It was like, yeah, there was Jake and the Fat Man, there was Riptide, and there was that one. Yeah, it was. I loved. Just to go off on a tangent.
Well, we haven't done
Hardcastle.
that yet,
Hard.
so
I know, right? Hard. Here we go. Strap in. I told you it'd be spoilers. Hardcastle McCormick, was one of my favorites. I always liked that. And then I remember years later watching the Star Trek 10, and I was like, holy
mhm.
shit, that's McCormick. Like, oh my God. Anyway, starring Kurt Russell as Rudy Russo, Jack Warden as Roy L. Fuchs and Luke Fuchs, Garrett Graham as Jeff. So I got to tell you about Garrett Graham. So before, when I would talk about this movie, when I'm watching Phantom of the Paradise for the first time 3 or 4 years ago, I was like, oh, that's the guy. I go, is that the guy from Used Cars? And I thought I looked it up, but I didn't. But I was like, no, it's the guy from The Incredible Shrinking Woman, Jekyll and Hyde Together Again, and Jerk 2. No, that's somebody else. But
That's
that's
Mark.
Mark. But
Well,
yeah,
we forgot his name, and
yeah,
sadly for him,
yeah,
everyone else in
yeah,
show business did.
exactly. But he was funny, and I remember watching this, and I was always, and when I watched Phantom of the Paradise, I'm like, that guy looks familiar, and I guess I didn't look used cars because I was thinking Jekyll and Hyde, and I was thinking, and then I'm like, no, that's not the same guy. Um, but anyway, so that was my thing of like, oh, that is him. Like Garrett Graham is so good in this as Jeff.
He's
And
fantastic. Now I'm going to request,
yes.
unless you want to, pardon me for
Uh-oh.
interrupting the
Uh-oh.
intro, but I got some
Uh-oh.
Info about Garrett Graham
Oh,
on
yes, please.
according to Kurt Russell
Okay.
and Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale. So I'm
Oh,
going to request. Did you remember this
I
part?
I think of what you're saying, but also I like the part where he acted real slow. But I'll tell that part. You tell the other part.
Mm,
Unless you
sounds
were
good.
telling that. Go ahead.
Let's see. Computer. It's funny how Zoom it makes it so difficult to share just audio. Has all these
Oh,
other options. You got to hit
yeah.
advanced, and you think that's not terribly advanced.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then you have to hit, I don't know, you got to share your, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah. But
Let's see
no,
here.
it's go ahead. Go ahead, try it.
Go ahead, kid. Try it. See what happens.
Oh, this is great.
Oh,
And Garrett.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Jack told me that he said, because at one time I asked, I said, Jack, I'm so, I'm like so thrilled that you did this movie. And he said, hey, Bob, every actor always wants to play dead.
Oh wait.
And I said, oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, anytime an actor can play a corpse,
Sorry,
I
Phil. I'm
jump
just
at the
creating
chance.
editing for you now.
Garrett.
Okay. Well, we can
Garrett.
jump off on that because
Yeah.
that part was Jack, because we were talking Jack Warden and we went past it. But Jack Warden said, they said, do you want to play in this movie? And he was like, yeah, all actors want to play dead. They want to
Yeah.
play like if they can do two roles, they'll do it. Like that's cool. And what was there was a third one. And so he like did it. And then what else
Yeah.
was cool was they said they didn't have the technology at the time to do them standing side by side, but how he looked so different than the other one. Like, but the Garrett
And his
Graham,
whole personality too. He really.
really just went there and had the leisure suits and somebody had went up to them while they're making it and was like, where'd you get this old guy playing his brother? Like that's like when he's working on the car when he's getting the dog to bring the screwdriver. And he's
Yeah.
like, where'd you get? He goes, that's Jack Warden. He's like, oh my God, like he looks totally like, older than he is.
Yeah.
But something else that they said, unless this is what you're looking for, then stop me from saying it.
No, just tell me because
Garrett Graham, he would read his lines really slow because he thought he would get more screen time. So he's like, okay, I'm just gonna read them real slow. And Jack Warden was like, motherfucker, like this guy is like reading like forever. And then finally he was like, Jack Warden takes him aside and goes, look, if you talk really fast, it's harder to cut around you. They have to leave it in. If you talk slow, a lot of your shit's going to get cut out. And he's like, oh, and he
Yeah.
goes, from then on, he would talk really fast, like coming in, like in that first scene where they're like, well, what do we do? Who's she? Blah, 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 blah. So,
yeah.
it was really neat. And Frank McRae as Jim the mechanic. I forget what else he was in, but he's great. And on that, again, I'm sorry. This is where you said, I'm going to listen to the audio commentary. And I said, I've already listened to it. And I felt that we're going to bump heads. You're going to be like, you know what they said about that mechanic that they ran into in Phoenix? And I'm going to go, yeah. And we won't tell anybody. No. So when they were working on this and they were traveling around, they stopped in because something broke on their car. And they went in and there was this mechanic who was like crazy, like just looked crazy and was like, yeah, I can fix it. It was just weird. And
Speed freak.
Like,
the guy was a speed freak.
yeah. And they go, we were like, that character, we got to put him in the movie. And they made him like an army vet and, all that. And he freaks out when they wake him up, but also like falls asleep with the, with the torch, just like asleep. Yeah.
Well, I might send it to you because there's something really exciting in the commentary. It's very tantalizing
Was it
because
was there something about cocaine in Garrett Graham?
yes, but I don't know. Did they say it out loud? Because
They
they go,
did. They said
oh yeah,
they said, yeah, I think Kurt Russell goes cocaine. They go, yeah, there was like these people in this room, like over there, they're all doing coke, and these ones over here aren't. And so they were like, okay. I think they said it once, and then they just, go off about like, oh yeah, they were doing that.
To completely sabotage a whole show.
oh wait,
Now, what was the deal there? Why? What was? You just couldn't
Yeah,
get
the head. I think
too much cocaine, probably.
they just weren't. They just.
Hey, it was 1980.
Well,
When was it?
plus we had
79,
a bunch of local people from Arizona.
And I just like,
they weren't
no,
that
we couldn't
good.
get anything lit. I just like,
They were slow. Yeah, they didn't
they were
care.
so slow.
Funny.
and there's another moment where I will send it to you because I don't want to create a minefield of editing,
Yeah.
and I wasn't able to cut the clips. But at some point, he says Garrett, and they're like, "Yeah, Garrett's great. He should have been much bigger star." And Kirk goes, "Yeah, Garrett had some bad habits around that time. I think that kind of worked against him, and they all kind of agreed.
Yeah.
And it was clear that Kurt was not that fond of him in that way as a
Mhm.
collaborator. He also
Yeah.
apparently demanded a Winnebago and wouldn't shut up about it the entire time. Where's
Yeah.
my Winnebago? I'm supposed to have a Winnebago.
Yeah.
After all of this, they found out that he was not supposed to have a Winnebago. He was not on the list of people
Wow.
that were
Yeah.
supposed to have a Winnebago. So he sounds like an enormous pain in the ass during the shooting of this, which is really bad timing because he's about to make a big flop called Soup for One. He's not the lead, but he's in it.
Mhm.
And he is a genius comedic actor.
Yeah.
And he also wrote some lyrics for the Grateful Dead.
Oh wow.
He was really close with them. And in that movie that's under the name Naked Space, or The Creature Wasn't Nice, there's a few different names for it. Cindy Williams and Leslie Nielsen in his first comic role, made in the early 80s by the people who made the first nudie, I can't remember, I'm forgetting the name, the first nudie picture show or something like that.
Oh,
So-
right. Oh yeah, I remember that.
So Garrett's in that, and then there's some contribution from the Grateful Dead. In the end credits, they have their big skull logo at the end. So he was tight with them fellas.
Wow.
I'm sure they didn't get up to any nonsense.
Yeah. No. Straight Bible, going to church on Sundays.
Exactly. Actually, they didn't. They wouldn't work on Sunday, right? Because they wanted
That's
to
right.
observe.
That's right.
So Garrett, cult actor, I think would be the best characterization because then he goes on to be in Terror Vision, and I believe
Oh.
Chopping Mall.
Oh yeah, I think so. I don't know. Chopping Mall. Oh. But yeah, it was but he's still good. Like you said, he's good comedic actor. He's great. Deborah Harmon as Barbara Fuchs. Joe Flaherty, the great Joe Flaherty, is Sam
Oh, I love
Slayton.
him.
David L. Lander as Freddie Paris. Michael Keaton as Eddie Winslow. That reminded me of a story that I'll tell you in a second about
Mhm.
Michael Winslow. Michael Talbot as Mickey, and Al Lewis as Judge Harrison. So I was talking to my dad the other day, and we talked about some comedy, and my dad was like, remember that movie with that guy? He's a black guy, and he made all these noises. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, I made all the noise. I go, Police Academy? Because he thought it was some other movie. And I'm like, he's like,
Yeah.
Police Academy? I go, yeah. I go, his name is Michael Winslow. He's like, oh, I didn't know his name, but he did the machine gun. And then he has to tell me every scene. I'm like, yes, Dad. He's like, okay. And then I shared him that thing of him on, I don't know if it was Arsenio or whatever, when he's doing the guitar thing. Anyway,
Yeah.
but it was.
He was on
it-
Star
it
Search
was
as
just
well.
fun. Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
it's so funny that he outlines all the things. No, but he does the gun thing. But then he does the thing where it sounds like Jimi Hendrix playing.
Yeah,
I mean, I've seen
that
the
was the
movie.
one I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
but no, you don't understand. Then he can say something and make it sound like there's echo.
Yeah.
And yes, thank
Yeah,
you. Yes.
it's crazy.
He put an album out, Michael Winslow.
Written by, did he? Oh wow.
Yeah.
I should go find it.
Yeah,
Written
race
by,
right out there, folks.
and that's
Sounds like a great thing.
That's the thing where Michael Winslow's somebody that you're in a box. Like, what can you do for my talents? Should I go perform this on a stage? Should I go, how long is that going to last? I
Mhm.
only know so many things. I only have so many tools in my box. written by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale. So they said this took them a year to write, but it took 5 years to write Back to the Future. Like, but I could see that's a perfect movie. Like, that's going to take a long time. But they said before they would travel around and talk to all these used car dealerships, and they were all like telling their weird stories about one guy, the guy that he was like, I bet you that I can pee on that guy's leg and he won't even know it. And they're like, what? No way. And he's like, yeah. So he comes out with a hot cup of coffee and he's like, hey, how you doing? You liking this car? And the guy goes, yeah. And he pulls his dick out and he pees on the guy's leg, but he acts like he bumps into him and he's like, oh shit, I'm sorry. I spilled my coffee on you. And the guy's like, it's okay. It's all right. And they're like, motherfucker, I got to pay you money now because I lost that bet.
Yeah, I'm giving you
But-
money, and this
But,
happened. and
but
yeah.
they were like, we were gonna, well, meaning that he made the bet with the guys in the office. But,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but meaning that, but then
Oh,
they
I
were
see.
like,
Pay money like he would the car.
yeah, like
I
he
get
goes,
you,
I'll
sorry.
bet you $20 that I'll pee on that guy's leg. It's like that old From Dusk Till Dawn story that Quentin tells, that joke.
I guess that
you
makes
know,
more sense than that guy pissed on my leg.
but-
I'm gonna go buy the
yeah,
car
I'm gonna
from
go
him.
buy a car. But he didn't know it, he thought it was coffee. But he said we had all these stories like that, but he goes, we couldn't use them. It just, to make them all different, like vignettes. And he's like, so
Yeah.
we were like, no, let's do something else. So they did a different, so they made it totally different, and it works, and it's such a great movie. And directed by Robert Zemeckis. And so they said also they had made I Want to Hold Your Hand. And they were
Mhm.
like, what's our second movie? Let's go fucking balls out and do something crazy. And I usually talk about it at the end of the movie, but what didn't work was this came out right. It had a split release, but also
Yeah.
like Airport came out right then. I mean, Airplane. So Airplane comes out, everybody's laughing, going to see that like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And so then he's like, and then our movie was going to come out in August, but had a good screening in Dallas. So then they were like, these are like Smokey and the Bandit numbers. We need to put this out now. So instead of
Mhm.
releasing it in August, they release it in June or July or the end of June. And they
Oof.
release it. But then the other people are like, no, we already had the contract for you to do it in August. So half the country couldn't get it till August. The first part of the country gets it and releases it. And then the other part of the country hears that it's a flop and says, well, now we don't want it.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, it just dies on the vine, and it's like,
And
motherfucker.
it is honestly kind of a hard movie to market
Yeah.
if they don't just go 1 or 2 rounds. I actually did not watch any ad spots, but
Yeah.
how are they gonna sum up anything? Like, Kurt Russell is a car dealer. He's not that famous yet, by the way. You'll
Yeah.
see him next year in Escape from New York, but
Yeah.
he was in the Computer War Tennis Shoes, coming
Yeah.
out sometime this year.
Yeah. Yeah. He said he had just done the Elvis movie. And then on here, there's a cool making of, or, talking to Bob Gale. And Bob Gale said that, that that he had a can like that you would get. And so it was a can with a lemon in it. And it like had used cars all around it. And it was really cool. And he's like, so I got this. And then he pulled something else out. It was like a flyer that I kind of shared on one of the social medias of all the cars. So he goes, it looks now like a car chase movie. Like you think you're going to see Eat My Dust, and it's not,
Yeah, that's right, right. So they advertise it with that, I imagine, the giant car sequence at the end.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a car chase, but it serves a different purpose. So if you're going for that, you're
Yeah.
gonna hate the fucking thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's
And-
a brilliant satire. It's so dark. It is incredibly dark, which of
Yeah.
course I love. And
Yeah.
the crazy thing is, it's still edgy now,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
it's weirdly very pertinent right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just so good. And the,
And they never, because that kind of commentary on political corruption really, it wasn't as incisive a lot of times as this.
Yeah.
They'd make fun of politicians of them, or they'd be goofs, or
yeah.
But this starts with us finding out that Kurt Russell's character wants to buy his way into being a congressman, and if
Yeah.
he buys his way in, it's a lock. He doesn't even know what their policies are.
Yeah. He
doesn't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
He characterizes it. He's like, I can be like basically I can go up the ladder of life,
Yeah.
meet new people, exciting things. So everything is basically framed in this movie about consumerism, money,
Yeah.
looking at people like Marx,
Yeah.
but the thing that redeems the characters, besides it being really funny, but
Yeah.
you have to care about these people.
Yeah.
And when you have a character who doesn't tell the daughter of a man that she hasn't seen in a long time that her father's actually dead for
Yeah.
many days, sleeps with her, and then never tells her, she
Yeah.
finds out sort of by mistake.
Yeah.
Yet you still like this guy. Part of the reason is they are so loyal to each other, the characters in the film.
Yeah.
That they go, if someone's in trouble, they'll help them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
the betting
it's-
scene later or whatever.
It's all the friendship of them, but it's also that thing of showing, like you said, of him just being like a used car salesman who's now going to go to politics, and you're kind of like, well, yeah, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
And then the same thing of him that is kind of like a congressman, of when he comes out, and it's a funny scene that kind of goes quick, that if you don't notice it, you won't notice it. But it's when he goes, oh, you guys Irish? And they're like, yeah. And he goes, oh, me too, I'm Irish. And they're like, and then he meets the black couple, and he's like, all right, man, like, let me show you this thing over here. And you're like,
and he said like Rudy
talks
Ray
to the-
Washington or something. And
Yeah,
the Irish guy, he's like, oh, Rudy O'Brien, nice to see you.
yeah.
And that's a great example
to
of
the
a
Hispanics,
joke
yeah.
it's a great example, though, of a joke that is more about commenting about how sleazy this guy is and how
Yeah.
amoral and just oblivious to how this could be problematic or like
Yeah.
rude,
Yeah.
and then making a joke about the people. The joke's about him. He's
Yeah.
the asshole.
Yeah. I think it's around then when they tell the mechanic to, now you're going to be a car salesman. And he's talking to that guy, hey, it's a nice seat. Like, look at the seat. Look at the steering wheel. You want to get in it? And the guy's like, no, like, look at the seat. And the guy's like,
It's
And he
real
goes,
nice in
"It's
here.
real nice in here. Like, come on. And the guy goes, and he goes, get in the fucking car. And he like shoves him in there.
Motherfucker.
Yeah. So great.
That guy
Uh,
and his scenes. And I've seen this movie maybe 6 times, and I watched it.
Yeah.
The last time I watched it before this was sometime in the last 3-4 years, and I showed my mom the movie. She'd never seen it,
Mhm.
and I love. We were roaring. We watched a double feature of this and Wise Guys, the De Palma comedy with Piscopo.
Thank
and
you,
Danny DeVito.
Mr. Acabano. No, thank
no,
you,
no,
Mr.
no.
Acabano.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Acamano.
Yeah.
My brother and I say that all the time, and it's a brilliant movie that's unfairly trashed a lot of times, and a lot of people don't even know it exists. So
Yeah.
this is us doing our
I saw that in
civic
the
duty.
theater. Yeah.
wow, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Me and
I'll
my
get you-
friend Joe went and saw it. It's cool.
That's a beautiful thing. My brother and I watched it. We watched everything that came out on VHS, especially around the time when he was working in a video store. So I got everything.
Yeah.
So when they talk in video archives about that era of video store, I think, yeah, man, those were really great because the mom and pop shops, whatever they bought, they
Yeah.
never got rid of it.
Yeah.
They're just more shelves. The shelves will go up to the sky, and they oftentimes didn't know what the fuck they had. That was
Yeah.
different than video archives. This guy Leo, people would ask him for recommendations on new films.
Are you going to tell the Marlboro
Yes.
Man
Yeah,
story?
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I love this story. I was watching part of Marlboro Man the other day or something. I was watching a clip.
What
of
a
it.
bizarre, absurdist science fiction film that is.
Yeah.
So people need reassurance so badly that they're making the right choice, as if it's equivalent in the picking of a movie, rather, as if that's equivalent to which is the better washer and dryer, what has the best consumer reports.
Yeah.
That made more money, I want to go see that. So it's so bad with that. I don't know if it's people don't trust themselves or it's the $4 that it costs, because God forbid you waste $4.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm standing there looking. I always knew what I wanted, and I would look at the new releases and say, "Oh, great! This art house movie that didn't play near me. Great, Down by Law. They have that." And I can't remember what was it, 89 that Harley did. This film. Okay,
88 or
So
89.
it- So this guy he's asking him about every single movie, and he's giving him non-answers. And the guy's going, "Oh, okay, great, thanks." I mean, he's literally telling the guy nothing, and Leo wants to get away from the guy. You can tell.
Yeah.
Leo was okay. His wife Cookie was one of the meanest people I've ever met
Wow.
in my life, and I'd be paying them money for something, and she'd scowl at me like I had ripped them off, like I was getting
Wow.
one over on them.
Yeah.
Because also Leo would sell me shit that didn't move in the store.
Oh, right.
He'd look
Yeah.
up like Straight to Hell, which cost $90 at the time.
Yeah.
I was the only one who'd rented it. I'd already put like $20 towards it.
Yeah.
And he'd look it up and he'd go, Yeah, okay, $10.
Yeah, yeah.
And when she was there and saw that, she'd get furious. Anyway, Rotten Woman named
Mhm.
Cookie.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So this guy's going through the entire new release section. He picks up Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, which, even if you don't read the back of the box, which by the way you shouldn't have to,
Yeah.
it's you see it on the cover. You see Don Johnson, you see Mickey Rourke. Okay.
Yeah.
Leo, what about this one? How's this one? Oh yeah, yeah, that's a real good one. See, you see, Don Johnson plays the Marlboro Man, and Mickey Rourke plays Harley Davidson. And the guy goes, "Oh, wow, great, yeah, okay, great, thank you." And he's like, "Yeah, you got it." You couldn't know less about the film
Yeah,
unless you
yeah,
didn't see it,
yeah.
and that sold the guy
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah. Is John Wick any good? Oh, you see, Keanu Reeves plays John Wick. Oh my God.
Right.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's Forrest Gump? Okay, so Tom Hanks plays
Yeah.
Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
realize. Oh, I
That
love
guy.
him.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
guy from
Yeah,
Dragnet.
yeah.
Which, by the way,
Also,
I was going to share
Zemeckis
you
film. Yeah.
before we started recording. I saw it came up on my Twitter, and it was the rap video for Dragnet with them two in
Oh
it.
my God, yes.
And I was
Yes.
like, oh my God, another one. I saw that in the theater, and I saw Harley Davidson Marlboro Man in the theater. But I remember, I think I either had the soundtrack or would always, whenever it came on MTV, I would want to watch that video of like, oh, look,
Yeah.
it's Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd singing.
Dan
But
Aykroyd
anyway,
really hung on to that thing of songs custom made for a movie that he also often would participate in. On the Doctor Detroit soundtrack,
mhm.
there's Hey Skridlow. And on My Stepmother is an Alien, there's a song called Hot Wives that he sings that he co-wrote with his brother Peter. And
Wow.
on the Dragnet one, there's that, and I think there's one other one. But and of course, I have all of those on vinyl because
There was,
how can you not?
that's great. There was a thing, but he does really good in Dragnet, Dan Aykroyd. And we haven't done it yet, but Wired, the guy that plays Dan Aykroyd in Wired is so fucking good. Like
Gary
you
Grooms.
you would swear that it's Dan Aykroyd playing Dan Aykroyd. Like, yeah.
That's right, folks. Get excited. We're
That's
going to do the worst Saturday Night Live associated film of all time.
That's right.
One of the worst movies ever made, but it's
Yeah.
spectacular in its shittiness.
Yeah, yeah.
Michael Chiklis plays John Belushi, and we'll
Yeah.
get into it when we do it. But
Yeah,
he plays him like sort of an addled 10-year-old. It was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, look, famous people. It's a long
yeah,
story.
Don't do
We're
him,
going to get
yeah,
into
don't
it.
do him justice. Yeah.
You know, we're not, and Ray Sharkey.
Yeah.
Near the end of his life, completely addled on heroin,
Yeah.
playing a what
Angel
Spanish?
of Death or yeah,
Puerto Rican,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
playing a guy named Angel because he's the angel of death.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Real good stretch.
and I'm going to be posting that on the Patreon because you can't get that thing nowhere unless you buy the VHS. And thank you, Eric Clapp from Cinema Force.
Of course,
for,
yes.
Yeah,
I had always wanted to see
transferring
it, and
that.
then I finally got to see it. Yeah, so good.
I wrote him a frantic note. I said, Eric, if I get something and have it sent to you, can you just hang on to it for a little while or maybe transfer it like in a couple months? He did it in about 48 hours.
Yeah, he did that with
Eric.
Condor Man too. He's like, hang on, I got Condor Man widescreen. Boom. I'm like, oh.
No, I sent you
Oh,
that.
you did that. You did that.
Yeah.
See, I'm sorry.
Thanks
I'm
a lot.
giving credit. You know, Hitler.
That's okay.
saved
According to
all
you,
the
I own
Jews.
Cinema Force.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I love listening to Eric and Friends. It's a great show.
Yeah, it's a good show. But yes. What was I gonna say? I don't know. But let's hear
That's all
listener
right. I
opinions.
may have derailed you. So
You might have just a little bit. It's okay.
wait, you know what? You don't have to use this, but let's do our own interpretation. It's like a cover song.
Yeah.
Now it's time for listener opinions. While I'm singing this, you do the whole.
Well, you
line from the
gotta
movie.
have an opinion.
That's right. It's listener opinions. That was the alarm there that told us that was a terrible bit and we should stop it immediately.
Is that
Yeah.
what that was? I was thinking
Yep.
it was something, but hey, everybody's got to start somewhere.
That's right.
You know, I think Abbott and Costello did that. They were like, "Oh, listener opinions."
And
Baron-
Rogers and Clark had to start their songwriting career somewhere.
That's right. And Freddie Vincent and Joe Pesci.
There you go.
Baron von Grimm on Twitter wrote, quote, I live about 10 minutes from where they shot this in Mesa, Arizona. They use use car lot as now a hotel. So I looked this up though on the on the map, and it looks like that empty space that's supposed to be their car lot,
Mhm.
you know, that where Kurt Russell works is like empty. Like it's like a junkyard. And so I'm
Oh,
like, oh
wow.
my God, like you can go there. And the other one seems like it's still a car dealership. But that was through IMDb doing filming locations, and that's where it took me. But yeah, I
Well,
wrote the
it
guy.
was
I was like, oh, I
sorry.
live in Phoenix, Arizona.
And the lot was the Lander Used Car Emporium. I'm adding Emporium myself. And as part of the fun of making the movie, Kurt Russell appears in one of those classic old used cars ads with Mr. Darner. So here we go.
Joel Darner for Darner Chrysler Plymouth, and here is Kurt Russell starring in a film here on our lot. Let him tell you about it.
Thank you, Joe. Yes, we're shooting a picture called Used Cars for Columbia Pictures, and even we haven't got deals like this. Take this 79 Chrysler here. You get a $300 rebate directly from Chrysler, plus Darner's discount of $1,700. If you can beat it, go somewhere else. I don't think you can. The best wheels, best deals on wheels, right, Joe?
Right, absolutely, Kurt. That's at Darner Chrysler Plymouth.
That
that's
is
magic.
cool. That's magic that you found that.
My pleasure. And also, by the way,
yeah, that
why not
was-
on the Blu-ray? There's no way that there's a rights issue with that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that again they just rushed this out and grabbed what they could. But a lot of the stuff that they got, maybe we should send that to Bob Gale.
Yeah,
That
that's not a
Bob
bad.
Gale,
That's a
like a
great
lot
idea.
of this on the making of Bob Gale was like it says like for the press kit, part of Bob Gale's, and the pictures are Bob Gale taking the photos. So but Fred Schaefer on Twitter wrote, quote, another example of the kind of comedy that they don't do very much anymore, if at all. Bad taste and sexy used to go together well, end quote. Caesar Augusto on Twitter wrote, quote, Caesar, host of the Rad Revival House here, used cars is practically based on reality. I used to work at a used car lot here in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and it is almost exactly, in all caps, like that movie, end quote. Mr. Kieran Green on Instagram wrote, quote, a comedic masterpiece. Zemeckis was such a promising talent, but what the heck happened to his career? End quote.
That's a good one.
Which is true because I saw, you know, they did that documentary Man on Wire, and so you watch the
Is it about
documentary.
him or?
It's really good. No, Man on Wire is about a guy that
Oh.
walked a tightrope between the World Trade Center,
Yeah.
the World Trade Center towers. And
Film I'll
then,
never watch because it's too anxiety inducing.
oh my God, yes, it's and then he goes,
I'd
well, I'm
rather
gonna
watch
make-
Grizzly Man again.
then he goes, I'm going to make a movie about it. And so he makes the movie, and you're like, you know, it's like, why? I saw the documentary. Same thing with that Ron Howard did that thing about saving the children, those soccer team that was trapped that they had to swim
Oh yeah,
under the thing.
yeah.
There was a documentary done really well, but then Ron Howard goes, let's make a movie out of it. And you go, documentary is fucking fantastic.
Yeah,
But-
it serves the purpose. By the way, Tiger King, that
Yes.
was a podcast, then
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
documentary,
Yeah.
then a film.
Yeah.
I opted out of all of it. I was like, I know
Yeah,
the fucking
the-
story. I've heard it secondhand.
Yeah, the Tiger King, the Netflix show was good. And then that
right,
was
yes.
just, yeah. But
I fucking forgot there was a
yeah.
show too.
Yeah, that was the
The greatest story ever told.
but it was
apparently.
cool because Kate McKinnon plays the girl and then he
Yeah.
plays the Tiger King, so it's fun. Microfilm Music on Instagram wrote, quote, even when Kurt Russell is made to look like crap, he's still hot as fuck, end quote.
Hey, Microfilm. I know Microfilm.
Oh, okay.
Great fella. Great tunes.
Cool. He could have done a better opinion song than we did.
No,
He's singing it right now.
That's not
He's
necessarily
going,
true. Okay,
that is
that's
true.
not
We're
necessarily true.
unique.
Don't.
You're right.
Yes,
You're right.
exactly. And it was improv. So.
Yes. Jerry Dennis on my personal Facebook page wrote, quote, I saw this with my older brother in the theater when it opened. I had not laughed
Wow.
that much since Animal House and Smokey and the Bandit, end quote. John E. Egbert, so he used to work for me at my job. He was a supervisor with me on my personal Facebook page wrote, I'm in it, filmed in my hometown, Mesa, Arizona, sophomore year, got to watch it a lot of the filming and appeared in one of the crowd scenes, end quote. So I think
That's
that's
cool.
when everybody's lined up on the street. It's probably one of him. Brian Potter on the Making Tarantino, the podcast Facebook page wrote, quote, brilliant movie. It had no competition in its time. Unique, hilarious, surprising, clever. This movie blew me away. End quote.
Speaking of the
So,
kids, by the way, one of the kids in that massive family, which
yeah.
is its own dark little
So, well,
commentary on certain things.
those two. Oh yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, the one kid in the
So
front. Yeah,
there's a kid with like smeared chocolate on his face
yeah,
because they thought that would be hilarious, and it is funny. So in order to keep that going, they had to keep the kid eating
give him
Hershey's
energy.
bars.
Yeah,
Yeah, and and also for continuity or whatever. I don't even think we see the bar. And
yeah,
of all the things going on, would we notice that he ate so much Hershey bar that he was like he was more amped up, Kurt Russell said, than all the people on coke on set.
yeah, yeah. And they had to rank like he went running down the street. And they had to go get him.
Yeah, no, they set him off in a field. They're like, you go run for a while,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
come back.
yeah, run it out. And then those other two kids are in the football gear in the back of
Yeah.
that station wagon. When it hits that bump, when he goes, okay, bye, and the back end opens and they fall out. And it was a stuntman's kids, and they were like, yeah, I want to be in it. So they were like, okay. So they put the kids in football gear and said, okay. And they go, could you imagine doing that today? And this audio commentary
God,
was
no.
like 2002. And they were like, yeah, no, we couldn't do that. But yeah.
By the way, for folks who haven't heard the commentary and don't want to get the Blu-ray or whatever, it is available on the YouTubes. So it's really good.
Yeah,
And it's you can listen to it even without watching the film.
it's-
I
yeah,
mean, not you know what I mean, without watching it at the same time.
Yeah, I did that with when I did Assault on Precinct 13. I played on YouTube after I watched a movie. Then on YouTube, I just listened to John Carpenter talking.
Because
So,
it's not like
great.
one of those things where you go, wait, what's
Yeah.
going on in the movie right now? Because they'll be like, well, when they had him shoot through the window, there was only
Yeah. But the dog, but that dog when the dog plays limp, like crawls under the car and then he throws a rock under there and and you're like, oh my God, this is dark. And they go, yeah, we had to drug that dog up to make, because I'm like, this dog's a real good actor. They were like, no, we drugged him up to make him, and but it's that stuff. It's the thing of I'm trying to think of what else that they love
I got something for you.
working with Joe Flaherty. The other thing that
It was going to be
in,
originally, sorry, John Candy was the original
yes.
choice for that role, and I think it worked out for the best. I think Joe Flaherty is, first of all, was a genius,
Yeah.
and sadly so wonderful that he would often be overlooked because of his understated performances that were dead on.
Yeah,
But he embodies that role.
yeah, if you want swarmy, whatever, like
Yes, smarmy.
Joe Flaherty's the guy. Like it's like when he's on SCTV playing the guy who runs SCTV, like he's so like a piece of shit. And
Guy Caballero,
but
who
then-
uses a wheelchair for
That's right.
convenience.
but then when you like somebody like John Candy, you have to wait till JFK when he's all sweaty and then he looks like a piece of shit and a real like weirdo. Like
A dramatic
I
role,
don't
because
think,
in a
I don't
comedic
think
role,
I don't
think
think it
because-
would work. Yeah.
exactly, because the key to this character in a milieu of very over the top moments and performances, Joe Flaherty is really dry
Yeah.
about it, and he's so believable as the completely amoral facilitator of the bad Fuchs brothers.
Yeah.
Roy Fuchs.
Yeah.
Roy Fuchs.
Roy is
his-
the
his-
one. Yeah. The other one was
his
Jake.
consigliere and enforcer, basically.
Yeah.
So
but
I
it's-
think if it was John
yeah,
Candy, it wouldn't have been as good because he would have been comedic.
yeah, Roy
know.
and Luke. Yeah, Luke was the good one. Yeah, it's that too where you're like, oh, I guess they're good. But then as soon as his shit goes, Joe Flaherty's right across the street, like, hey guys, what if we do? Yeah, you get lost.
Yeah.
Like, don't need you.
No loyalty at all.
Yeah. It's but also some other behind the scenes thing that was later in the court where they're like, we got you a lawyer, and her lawyer's like asleep. And they were
Yeah.
like, yeah, we just got an extra guy. Like there was an extra who we said, do you want to play? And they go, he does really good. He looks like he's bored and just sleeping. It was like, oh,
He does do really good.
and there was the thing, just because I was thinking of that, it happens later. I don't know how much we want to walk through this, but they had like 4 or 5 page dialogue in a scene where
Yeah.
he still hasn't told her about her dad dying and she's ready to leave. and he's trying to figure it out, and they're just like, this isn't working. And Kurt Russell goes, I can fix it. And they're like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, actor? And so he says he gets rid of all the pages, and he's like, nobody in a movie has ever been like, I just like you, like I like you. And so he tells her, like, I like you. And she's like, oh, okay. And then
Yeah.
so cut out all the little meaningless shit that you're gonna talk and just hit it with the good stuff.
It's a powerful moment,
Yeah.
and more so even because you're not expecting that, because he's playing a weasel, and
Yeah.
they draw that out just enough because any movie where they have that thing where someone's dead or like the fortune's gone and they're pretending to someone, they're lying to someone for like the whole film.
Yeah.
It makes me crazy because I go, like, that's reprehensible.
Yeah.
It is here as well, but you understand the complications a little more. But he's still doing a rotten thing.
Yeah, and that she knows from like how her dad was and the used car business, and she kind of says like, "Oh, you didn't give me the yellow primer story. Like, why is that?" And so then later that pays off when she's like, "Was that a taxi?" And she's like, "No, yellow primer." "Oh, yellow primer, really?" Like,
I wanted to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And she goes, I appreciated that. I also like when he's figuring out that she's not the consumer the consumer protection agency agent.
Yeah.
When she goes, trust me, and he goes, oh, you mean like trust me? It's like the telling. She's like, oh, you mean the bullshit?
Yeah.
You know, like car dealer bullshit. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's and then something else. That car is so cool. I don't know if that was a Datsun. I don't know what it was, but I'm like, that's
Which
such
one?
a cute. Her red car. It was like cute.
Oh,
It's like a
great.
two-door. It was like, I'm like, this is the cool car. Like, I love it.
And she drove up in a red car, wearing a red dress.
Yeah.
One of my favorite. Well, there's so many.
And
Garrett Graham's character Jeff has the most superstitions ever.
Yeah.
And
Every superstition. Yeah.
Every superstition. Yeah.
It's the thing of when they bring in Lenny and Squiggy, forgive me. They bring in Michael McKean.
Okay.
And wasn't the kid's name, wasn't that Michael McKean from Alice? He's what's her name's brother from Facts of Life. The boy from Alice from the TV show. Anyway.
The Boy Who Cried Wolf?
I thought he was
No?
Michael McKean. Yeah, he was that boy. But
that I'm
anyway,
not
it doesn't
sure.
matter. That's just in my head. I was there. But anyway, Michael McKean and David Lerner, did we say?
No, David O. Russell.
David
David
Russell.
Lander.
Yeah, when David O.
David
Russell
Lander.
there. Lander, yes. Was it Lander? Wait, yes.
It was David O. Russell. He was the cameraman.
No.
See, that's how we got to start. And
You're
yeah,
confusing everybody.
thank you.
Yes,
That's my
it's,
intention.
hey,
That's my
good.
sinister purpose.
Lander, yes, you were right.
Yeah.
So the you're like, of course.
I never say that.
The
I
thing
never say
of
that.
you wait till you're off mic. That's when you go off the camera and you're like, yes.
Yeah, and I send a list to Phil. I transcribe it and I underline it and I go once again.
You do.
Yeah.
You just send me a Macaulay Culkin meme. Yes, from Home Alone. The thing. So they get him and they go, can you patch in to the ASU game? You know, to the
For
game.
those who haven't seen it, basically
And-
they're making an illegal commercial
Yeah.
that, if you know this reference, it'll help patch it together. There was some folks did a thing where they jammed the signal of HBO in like '86 with a Max Headroom sort of thing, but it wasn't Max Headroom. It was Captain Midnight. And go look that up on MTV, YouTube. And there's a sinister weirdness to it.
Wow.
I can't even put into words. But I mean, that's years later. So these guys are tech heads that they know who are video people that know how to jam the signal. And what they're going to do is interrupt the State of the Nation, State of the Union.
Well, first they're doing the game. First they interrupt.
I'm
the
sorry.
game,
Yes.
and which is great.
You're right, Phil.
because-
Once again.
Well, it reminded me because of the red car when all of a sudden he's with the flashlight. The mechanic's like, "Oh shit!" Like, that's a red car. He's like, but he's happy about it. He's like, "I want to see this whole thing crumble because it's a red car and nobody told him."
Yeah.
And Kurt Russell's like, "What?"
Because again,
it's a
so
red
it's
car.
for those. Jeff is going to be the star of this illegal commercial, and while he's talking to the girl too, that he has with him, you know, because they want to get some lady action in there. And while in the film, you could say bad taste because they're using women to make this. Oh, there's going to be nudity at some point in this film. it's a commentary on that and how that is used to lure people in,
Yeah.
right? So he's about to go on. He's got it all worked out. He's smooth, and he leans over to her and he goes, "We're going to show some. How about that? Is that better? We can show a lot of your thigh." And he goes, "Sorry, baby, for being so sexist. Listen, I'll buy you a cocktail after this." And then he kisses her on the cheek. He is the presenter, and he thinks he goes, "Well, I got this purple car and blah blah blah." And again, he's terrified of red cars. To him, they mean endless bad luck. And someone goes, "This ain't a maroon car." And then, the guy, the
well,
mechanic,
then the
guy,
lights come on, and that's when he sees,
and he
like,
goes,
oh shit,
"Oh my God, it's a fucking red car," or whatever he says. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
while he's doing that, Kurt Russell's like, let's look under the hood, and her dress like goes away, like gets pulled off.
At that point, Jeff is not even like paying attention to what he's supposed to be doing. He's like, "I can't fucking believe, shit, a fucking red car," which is now a huge FCC violation and all that. So Kurt Russell runs in. Let's look at the hood, because they're like, "Shit, her dress is caught on the hood ornament." So they throw it, but it's great because some stuff is not necessarily predictable, but you go, "Oh no, that's gonna," because the movie, it's running along at a clip that still seems perfectly speedy.
But then,
whereas some comedies from that era, there's slowness, and it's like, "Oh Christ, this is gonna happen." Not this. There is a joke lurking in the background, or one going on in front. What's the name of the TV station, by the way? Did you catch this on the real TV station that does the
something?
end? Yeah, KFUK.
Yeah. What was funny too was it's the thing of David Lerner like just filming her boobs and like just like, oh, and then the mechanic like grabbing her boob and stuff, and it's like, oh my
the
God.
mechanic reaches out, and the framing
then,
is great too. And David Lander, who's kind of weaselly, and then buried in the ADR. Which is some of my favorite stuff in a movie, is buried in the ADR. He goes, "Oh my God, look at that! Oh God, tits! This is great. This is why I went to film school, or made film school worth it." And then there's a pause, and you hear commotion. He goes, "I hate women."
Oh God, that's great. Yeah, but then on the cutaways, all the kids are just like seeing boobs, and the guy and the woman's like, "No, guys, don't look," and they're just looking. And
how about this dark moment? There's a guy having sex with his wife, who's laying there, sad,
and
with her head turned away.
That's our guy from Chopping Mall, the Roger Corman guy, David Miller. Miller. Dick Miller.
Oh, no way!
Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
So
I was too distracted by the look of abject misery on the wife's face, and thinking, every depiction of married life in this film is so dark and bleak.
And I think it was Kurt, or maybe the two Bobs on the audio commentary, was like, "Yeah, that'd be me." Like, I'd be like, "Oh, look at that!" Like, and Kurt did say, like, "Yeah, she had a nice body. She was real nice." And that was the thing where
Cheryl Rickson.
Bob Gale had to go get her and bring her back from the airport. And he's like, "I'm driving in a car with like a Playboy playmate." Like, I'm like, "Oh my God, like I'm 26 and look at me,"
And Cheryl Rickson. And wait, did they bring her back because they thought of the boob gag after, or just him picking her up?
No, he said off camera when he picked her up.
Yeah.
When he went to bring her to set or bring her to the hotel.
Oh, just to pick her up. Not
to pick her up from the airport.
Because they threw in a lot of not made up, but stuff on the fly, like the kid at the Hershey bar, and this and the guy. They said they found the guy to play the lawyer. Those guys were remarkably loose with throwing stuff in there, and this goes back to 1941.
Yeah.
They wrote that, and that's what the two Bobs thing really takes effect. Yeah. And Spielberg, of course, was like, "What do you guys got?" Did he give him the script for "I Want to Hold Your Hand," and off to the races. He executive produced it, didn't do well. Yeah. Then he executive produced this, didn't do well. As good as it got reviewed, and as great as it is, and that's why Spielberg held off from doing Zemeckis' next thing until they did Back to the Future. And I think that's why it took so long to hone.
Well, and that's where this was going to be directed by Spielberg. And then Milius was like, "You're not going to direct this thing. Like, who are you kidding?" And he's like, "Yeah, I guess you're right. I won't do it. Okay, go ahead. You guys can do it." And they're like, "Okay."
I forget constantly that John Milius was one of the executive producers. I tend to not think of him as a laugh out loud kind of fella, but I guess
Yeah.
Oh,
It's,
sorry. And to say 1941, they'd be like, "Hey, cool! Like John Milius is here." It got cut out from the movie, but they're like, "Hey, throw a Santa Claus outfit on him and
yeah,
just let him." You know, there'd be tons of that stuff.
yeah, yeah. That's where I could see where it would be bad if they were to take all the stories. Like I said, that original script was going to be a bunch of vignettes. That's what 1941 is here's
Yeah.
a funny fight in a dance hall. Here's a funny, zoot suit riot fight. Here's a funny thing with the tank. Here's a guy with the gun, Ned Beatty scene. Um, but but it is but then what's interesting is the second one when they're going to the State of the Union. So they
The
call
second ad. The second ad.
they call the FCC or call whoever, I forget, call some guy who does that. And they were like, could this be possible? And the guy's like, yeah, I don't think so. And then he's like, well, hang on a minute. He starts thinking, he's like, yeah, if you had this and that, you could do that. And
Microwaves.
they're like, oh shit, really? He's like, yeah. So they wrote it in and they're like, that's a real thing that you could do. And then what was really cool is
Wow.
there's a scene of course, Michael McKean on the roof, like getting ready to take out their solar so he can put theirs up to go up.
Yeah.
And so that's all filmed on a set somewhere on a stage, whatever, on a roof. But then they needed a shot of the White House. So Bob Gale goes with like a suitcase and a suit with a camera guy, and they walk into a building that's like catty corner because he goes, all we've always seen is the front gates of the White House. I wanted something up high on a building. We go into a building. Oh, yeah, we're here to work on whatever. Okay, go on in. Let him in. They said we went all the way to the roof. Get up on the roof. The guy sets up the camera. We got the shot of the White House. He said, I
Amazing.
totally thought there'd be Secret Service. Somebody would see us. Nothing. We filmed that. And then we were like, okay. He goes, we left, walk on out in our suits, and we got the shot. And it was like, I'm like, holy shit. And that's where Zemeckis talking like what you said about doing all that stuff so quick. Zemeckis is like, I couldn't even imagine doing this now. Like, they're so, for one, he does his movies a certain way, but also like it would be too structured. Like that looseness was good, but also
Yes.
it's the
Yeah.
same thing.
And also
with,
stealing shots like that too. Like that's a very risky.
yeah, very. And it's the same thing with Terry Leonard is like a main like stunt guy from like the James Bond movies. And so Terry Leonard driving that car that Garrett Graham doesn't even, he's walking across the street after he stops in the paint's washed off his car. And he's walking across the street to go sit down. And this car is coming at him and it zooms around him. And they go, Garrett Graham didn't know like the car was there. And like they didn't tell him. And Terry Leonard went and they go, that could have went wrong in so many ways. When they watch it, they're like tensed up because they're like, he could have stumbled, he could have something, that guy could have hit him. And same thing with when they wrecked the car in the middle of the road, they go, that was dangerous, like knocked a camera down. Or no, maybe the stunt guy was like, you might want to take the camera out of that box when it finally rolls over into the thing.
He radioed them and he said, get the operator off the camera right now.
Yeah.
And about 30 seconds later,
it
smashed
rolled right over it. Yeah. But we didn't even talk about our Manhunter Miami Vice.
Oh yeah.
That guy.
Switek.
Like, yeah. And he's
Michael
Talbot. He is, you just see it and you're like, this guy's a piece of, but then like driving the car and then wrecking it and then being like, oh, I got your number. Like, I'll call you. Like,
he knows what the deal is. He knows the guy has a heart condition.
Yeah.
He's terrorizing him. And he pulls out his pills. He goes, pills? What do you need pills for, old man? Yeah. And then swerves and all the pills go out the window.
Yeah.
Something set up, by the way, if you haven't seen the movie, this is a spoiler. Jack Warden, as we said, plays a pair of brothers.
Yeah.
Roy and Luke. One of them, exactly. One of them is amoral. The other one's very moral. And the dilemma is that there is a new freeway coming into town. And despite the bad one, Roy, having paid off, bribed the government officials in charge of where the freeway would run through, he was going to have it run through his brother's place to screw him over and be the only one there. But because the congressman or whoever did not had to shy away from anything looking like it stank of impropriety, it was going to be routed through his. So now he wants to get his brother's parking lot and believes that he is the heir to it because no one's seen the daughter in forever.
Yeah.
And he doesn't care anyway. He tried to steal it.
Yeah.
And he can't buy it because the other brother despises him. And so he goes, well, he's got a bad heart. So this guy's happy to kill his brother to get
Yeah.
his used car lot.
Yeah.
So arranges for Michael Talbot, this stunt driver, basically, this hotshot, to go over and scare him to death.
Yeah.
To scare him to death. And so all of them know about the heart pills. Why else would you go, what do you need those pills for, old man?
Yeah.
So they're just a bunch of ghouls, like as sort of like shady as Kurt Russell's gang is. These people are like,
yeah,
devils.
dark. Yeah. And
Dark,
it's the thing
yeah.
where it shows how the uncle doesn't know about the daughter, or maybe I guess he thinks she's gone, but I'm thinking he hasn't even been close with his brother and maybe doesn't even know that the daughter exists. But then again, she's been away
just because
for
I
10
just
years.
watched it before taping.
Right.
He said, "No, it doesn't. Doesn't he have a daughter?" And he goes, "Yeah, I don't know. Hell, they haven't seen each other. She
Oh,
hadn't
yeah,
been around
that's
here
right.
for years. She won't
Yeah,
know the
yeah.
difference."
Yeah.
Oh, and there's a moment later where he's after a big fight,
Mhm.
after one of those ads, Jack Warden beats the shit out of Jeff Garrett Graham.
Yeah.
And then has him down on a table. He takes a framed picture, smashes it on the table, grabs a huge piece of jagged glass.
Yeah.
And you think he's going to do something bad to him. But then he stopped. And the photo is of his brother and the daughter when she's very young.
On the
And you
Edsel
think-
or whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah, sitting on the Edsel.
Yeah.
That plays a big part in the film.
Yeah.
So he's on the Edsel. He's in the Edsel. She's sitting on top, and that's the car that they bury him in to keep him out of sight, and pretend that he's in Miami Beach.
Yeah.
While they figure out what to do. And I thought, wait, is he seeing the daughter and thinking like, wait a second, any like good emotion, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He
yeah.
goes,
He's
the
just like,
fucking Edsel. He's in the
car.
Edsel. They buried him in the Edsel in the pit.
Yeah. 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 It's all of that stuff. It's a thing. They also said, like, when he cleans that part off of like the car, you see the green of the car. They go, that was a bitch to try to light to where it was just that part lit and not the dirt around it, like to do all that. But yeah, it's the thing where I like when he comes in all cocksure, when he's like, well, I guess he's dead. He's gone. No, I think he's dead. And when the car wrecks and he's like, okay, I guess it's mine now. And they're like, no, daughter's right here. And he's like, oh, motherfucker. And the dog's attacking him and everything on the ankles, which is so fun. That dog is so cool. But the,
And the one redeeming thing that the woman can think of, the daughter, is he apologizes, and she doesn't take any of the apology, of course, because it's so horrific. But he said, "Look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. But the thing is, your father said the last thing he said before he dies was, don't you never let my brother get his hands on this land at this lot." And he's like, "And I'll do anything to prevent that."
Yeah. Yeah.
Including
and then,
sending his corpse racing down this thing covered in gasoline to drive into an electrical tower that explodes, and then the bad brother comes over and goes, very cute, like they're all just doing bad things.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I know what you did. I know that you buried that. But that's those cool things that you like in a movie or a comedy where they're ones like Kurt Russell's like, I'll be right there. And you're like, well, what are they going to do? They've been found out. Oh, we're going to, and then like they say on the audio commentary, they're like, okay, we got to show, of course, that they're over here doing this. And here's the mechanic back here putting the gas. And they said, even before when they went to bury the car, they were like, look at Jag Warden. Like he leaned over on purpose. So when they shut the door, he would do this thing and like rock back and forth. And but then when they just send him going, Kurt Russell, they're all like, of course they see him, like there he is, like, okay,
Hey, look, there he is now. He's back from Miami Beach. He's not dead. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. And then the whole thing explodes, and then she's like, what? But then it's also that thing of like modern day where he's like, when we did it, he goes, we had to show it, and they made fun of the guy that's working at the TV station where he's like, well, what you do over here, we can hit this.
Yeah.
And he got the cigarette in his mouth, and they go, and they're laughing about it. They're like, this is great. Like a regular actor would want to, or the director would
Yeah.
say, pull that out of
Yeah.
your mouth. We need to hear you. He's just mumbling about like, let me show you something. And does that thing of like, she says, we have.
Oh yeah, this is, and again, so to mirror it to today and deep
Yeah.
fakes and everything,
Yeah.
using 2-inch videotape. The
Yeah.
guy goes, okay, so they take the ad that the daughter does. It's a dud of a commercial. So
Yeah,
throughout,
they
there's this incredible
stole the script, and yeah.
they stole the script, but also there have been these crazy, lurid, attention-grabbing commercials that they've been doing completely illegally.
Yeah.
And so there's like this weird sort of like punk thing going on, which is great. But then, so the daughter fires all of them after she learns what had happened to her dad, and she does the most milquetoast, nervous, terrible car commercial, and they think, oh great, she'll be bankrupt. But that's not all they're going to do. They're going to doctor the tape so she can say that they have a mile of car or miles of cars.
Yeah.
Which, and then he said, that's the greatest, that's the most serious, or the most blatant violation of
Yeah.
Consumer Protection Agency rules I've ever seen in my life. It's great. We're going to win the case. Then they cut to where Kurt and the mechanic see it, and he says the exact same thing. That's the most, aberrant, like whatever, the exact same line.
On the commentary,
Consumer Protection Agency
on the
that I've ever
commentary, they were
seen.
like, I guess he's a pro. Like, how would he know
Yeah,
that?
I know. Meanwhile,
But-
that guy falls asleep with a paint gun going
Yeah,
on.
and,
No mask. No
yeah,
mask. He's been
yeah.
there for hours.
And a
then
welding
later falls asleep.
torch. And then like freaks out when you wake him up because he has PTSD from Nam or whatever.
He's a belly laughs every time that guy does something.
Yeah, he's so good.
And so the thing also about the political overtones,
Yeah.
which are shot through the whole thing. So he wants to be a congressman, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the movie is saying in many ways, subtextually, that America runs not on Dunkin' Donuts, but on corporations and money. Money will get you the government position, and when you're in the government position, there's so much graft that's known within the industry that's the deal. He's like, and I when I'm kind of this position, I'll get 50% of all the graft that I get.
He
It's gonna
said,
be
and
great.
he says, I'll have power, and that's
Power
his
and
main
money,
thing,
and I meet
power
new
and money.
people.
Yeah,
Because that's all that matters,
Yeah.
and the impression of it. And then also, in an incredible sort of overlay for now, the speech that Jimmy Carter is giving, that they interrupt, they break the signal into, is his legendary speech about shrinkflation and how they're going to fight inflation.
Yeah.
And what's been going on lately? Now it's a bunch of hokum that's going on.
Yeah.
But people were very against the stuff he did, but he actually brought the states out of this horrific period of shrinkflation, which, by the way, the states are about to go back into.
Yeah, it's so crazy, but also what was the other one I was going to mention? It's the thing of where it's a thing of them hearing the commercial, but also he had that bet, like you said. So now his friend is like, well, ye could lose this much, but I'll only lose this much. So Garrett Graham's over there spilling salt and then trying to climb under a little ladder.
Oh yeah,
and
so there's a big
yeah.
Garrett, because of his superstitions, they've been fired. Now they're on Skid Row basically, which means that they're trying to sell bicycles to little
So
children.
good. Yeah,
It's
just
so
cuts
good.
to him at the trailer park, like, hey, you want to buy
Yeah.
this? I'll think about it. Well, you better hurry because I got two other guys looking at it.
And then they're on the balls of their ass, as the expression goes. And Garrett tells them, you want to make some money? Go to the bookie. Bet on this because it's the number 10 horse. I found a dime earlier, and the numbers I was dialing on the payphone where I found it added up to 10. Today's the 10th. And he had a couple other ones, and they're like, and then the mechanic's like, man, what did he say? He goes, man, you're so fucking superstitious. I want to throw you under a ladder on Friday the 13th. I couldn't stop laughing. I missed the next couple lines.
Yeah.
But so he's like, it's a sure thing. Bet on that. I'm going to bet $10. Then cut to the bar. They're watching the game. And he's like, you should have put money on this. And Kurt Russell's like, I did. he's like, well, how much? He said, all of it, which is all the money he's been saving for the congressional thing, which is like he had like 40 grand.
Yeah.
And this is another example of they'll do anything for their friends.
Yeah.
So as shady and questionable or their other practices are, Garrett Graham, his character is terrified of the superstitions. He's got the rabbit foot. He's got the terrified of red cars. I mean, you name it, he's got it.
Yeah. Knock on wood.
He walks around
everything.
ladders.
Yeah.
Everything. So you see the look on his face, and he's like, oh no, because he bet on the other team, Kurt Russell, because he's bad luck.
Yeah.
The other guy. So in order to help his friend, he fights every superstition you could possibly have, empties out every salt shaker in the place, just randomly throwing them. People are getting covered in salt. He's running around. He's doing everything, and then he's like, "Where's a ladder?" He goes and he can there's only enough space for him to crawl under the ladder. He crawls under the ladder.
Step ladder. Yeah.
It's amazing. And then
the guy that played the bartender is what's her name's father, the main girl. That's her father.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, they were like, "You want to be in the movie?" And she was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yeah."
I love that.
So,
A lot of familiar faces in the film, which is nice because the two Bobs put they're good actors and people, but I mean, in a bit, like performing, they're good people, all of them, on both sides. They always like Wendy Jo Sperber and a few other people. Thankfully,
right.
Eddie.
The guy that was in Back to the Future also, that was her brother that was in Superman as Jimmy Olsen. That guy was in it.
And Deborah Harmon, I never had heard of her. Every time I see the movie, I go, wait, who's the person that's in this? And then I realized when I looked up her filmography, she is the blonde bride-to-be in Bachelor Party.
Oh, and at when they're doing the hot dogs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's the one she grabs onto Big Dick Nick.
Yeah.
No, sorry, Nick the Dick.
Nick
Forgive
the Dick.
me.
Yeah, and he keeps doing this, like, and she's like, "It won't." Oh my god. But yeah,
I can't let it go.
Yeah, it's that. So then he looks and he goes duck, and he throws the bar stool into the big mirror, and
smashes the mirror. Every bad luck thing ever.
Major for him. But then
the Russell's team wins.
Yeah. And then, they win, he gets the money, and now he's like, well, I guess I'll go do this. But then they had seen the commercial, and they're like we said, like that. But now the next day he's going to meet with that guy.
And they go, did she say Miles?
And
that's when the other guy goes, that's the greatest violation, or the most, whatever he says. Yeah.
And when and so now he goes to meet Strother Martin, right, in the car. And Kurt was like, "Oh yeah, my dad Bing Russell used to work with him, like on several movies." He goes, "He's a great guy." And he goes, "What was funny?" And they showed it on the outtakes. Like he would mess up his line, he couldn't get lines out. He's like, "Motherfucker." But then he realizes, he's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go sue this girl, and this is what we're doing." And he's like, "What?" And so then he's like, takes the money and runs and hops on a bus.
That's when he learns about the freeway plans.
That's when
he learns about the freeway plans. And now he knows that her dealership is going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
And now he redeems himself.
Yeah.
He runs away from his dream, the congressman stuff, and goes immediately to the court, and then lets her know just by hand signals and mouthing a few words.
Lie.
Yeah.
Like, what? He's like, lie. And so she's like, yes,
they got everything
do.
stacked against them.
Yeah.
And, what I love is he's like, why'd you have to get that goddamn hangman judge? He's like, that guy, you can't bribe that guy, son of a bitch. Yeah. And when Royale Fuchs finds out that he's gotten screwed by the guy he's been bribing regarding the freeway positioning, he goes, "What the hell's happening these days? Used to be you paid a politician off. He stayed paid off. He stayed in your pocket."
Yeah. Well, and he's got, that judge has so much cool. Al Lewis has like a hangman thing that he hits a button and the thing drops. And then he's also got a guillotine and an electric chair. And Bob Gale's like, "I have all that stuff like at my hand." And they're like, "Oh my God, really?" He goes, "Yeah, somebody made it and put it up there and it all worked. And then, I went ahead and took it home." And that's those things. You need somebody to collect those. I recorded the podcast to be on later, but I was talking about that. Like, needs to be somebody like a Peter Bogdanovich that's saving the Hollywood, the history of the directors and all these things, and go to a museum. They need to be in a museum. But then then he tells her to lie. She's like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I have an idea." And now it cuts to the guy who's the guy from Three Amigos, the guy from Romancing the Stone, like, and you see that guy and you're like, how old is this guy? Because he looks just like the guy who goes, "Badges? We don't need no stinking badges," from Treasure Sierra Madre. But now he's there and he's always pushing on his like honk, like honking with his dick or whatever. But he goes, 250 cars, here you go. And he gives them all the keys.
Because they work out sorry, go ahead.
How many? Yeah, he goes, how many cars is that going to take? And whoever measures it goes, well, from measurements, this, plus we have 2 extras or 1 extra. And he's like, okay. And then they get all the keys, which is cool. And then they're like, who's going to drive them? And it's that cool moment of these 3 like school buses show up and they're like, we got your drivers. And he's like, what the fuck? And the old man that he's always been trying to give money to, this poor guy. And so now, and they said with that, it was, other than those actors, the other guys, like those black guys and all that, they were all just extras. They say, we just put out to a college, like, who wants to be in a movie? And
they're all driving at high speed.
16-year-old kids or whatever were like, yeah. And when they were watching that thing going through the desert, they were like, this is so dangerous. Like, even in that line, they were like, if one car would have fucked up, like, they'd all be messed up. And driving across there, if you would have fell off, you would have been ran over by somebody. And he's like, yeah, I wasn't even thinking of that. And the same thing when later on, when he jumps from car to car to go get him, which is a cool moment. He's like, they were like, yeah, we wanted to show you doing it. So they put like sticky stuff on the car and sticky stuff on his shoes so that he could do that. It's like, and they were like, yeah, we weren't thinking about any of that shit. We were just like, go do that.
Yeah, there's no green screen there. He's actually jumping from moving car to moving car.
Yeah, yeah. But it's that thing. Then Wendy Jo Sperber, was it her? No. It was,
and I just want to add, Kurt Russell also sacrifices to get these cars. He spends all the money he had saved for his dream to get these cars, to save the lot and her.
Yeah. That's the other thing where you're like, now he's redeemable. But then those 2, like the boyfriend and girlfriend, Kurt Russell's like, are these they're like, no, these were part of the guys that came in to drive. And we were like, you guys are good, like, just act. And they're just acting. And and Wendy Jo Sperber, like, she's so low, she can barely see through the steering wheel. Like, it's so funny. And then I was thinking of Bosom Buddies, ties back to Dragnet, because of Tom Hanks. I loved her in Bosom Buddies, and Donna Dixon ties back to Tom Hanks.
Love Donna Dixon. Dr. Detroit, represent.
Yeah. But then they're like driving so fast and it's so dangerous, and they were just like, yeah, like some of that stuff jumping when you don't see Kurt's face is like Terry Leonard doing everything. And they said even one of the stunts that seems so simple was earlier when he kicks the TV, when the Fuchs guy, he kicks a TV, and they were like, Terry, can you do this? And Terry's like, I've never done this before. Those are really thick screens. How do I kick it and break it and not get electrocuted? And and so so we were like, well, let's just film it. And they filmed it and he kicked it and did it and won, but was really nervous about like getting shot.
I can imagine. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I would be too. But then, so now they're driving, and now during this, the judge, he's like, because he's in the court, he's like, well, let me see it for my own eye. He's like, okay, I guess I'll go check it out for myself.
So tomorrow morning.
So
like
8
a.m.
Or
he sets the time.
No, at noon or 2. I think it's later that day.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's like, okay. So now they leave to go do that. And all this is going on while he's driving there. Everybody's like, they're not going to have a mile of cars. Then, like you're saying about how ruthless Roy is, Roy pulls a gun. No, has a fucking, has a wrench, and he's trying to hit him with the wrench. And the other guy the Miami Vice,
potentially killing them.
Michael's trying to shoot him and kill him, and you're like, what the hell? Like, and then when and they even say on the other commentary, like, what's he gonna do with this wrench? Like, is he gonna beat you like dead? Like what? But then he gets thrown out, which that's a cool stunt. Plus, when Michael falls, like that's a cool stunt. And then when that RV shows up and he's just Roy Fuchs is in the RV coming out of the RV, and you're like, what's that story? I want to see this story. But now they pull up all the cars, and I will always remember the scene because it was one of those movie moments that when me and my friend would watch it, they're measuring it, and they go, seems like you're a little short, and he goes, okay, and when he hits the thing, the little gasoline, the license plate flips down, and it makes and he goes, no, and you can tell that the judge is like, fuck it, like I'm gonna give it to her, like they tried, they did this thing, and it's just this cool happy moment of then the judge is like, let's go, like I want to go home now. And it's just there's so much comedy in it, there's so much different kind of comedy. It goes dark, but then like lightens up, and where you're like, my god, this guy's lying to her, and he even says like, I'm like a piece of shit, like when am I gonna like like Kurt Russell's like, when am I gonna do this thing? And but it's so good, and it's one where I used to watch, and sometimes I watch it and I go, it's good, it's okay, but then I bought it and I was like, I need to own this. Like I didn't own it, now I own it. And I'm like, yeah, that's like I could show the wife this, and you could show your grandma that movie. Maybe my grandma would be like, there's boobs, but my grandma's dead, so it's okay.
My mom loved it.
That's
my
the
mom
other
loved
thing.
it. The only part that she flagged a bit during was the car sequence. It was also late, and it does go on a bit. Like, when you can watch something through someone else's eyes, that you can tell, they don't like this. It was just the car thing that went on a little long for her.
Yeah.
But other than that, she loved it.
Yeah. The thing of what with the
listener opinions. Sorry, I don't want to get away from this. I know there's a bunch of them, I think.
Yeah. No,
so
I read them all.
Okay, I thought I derailed that. So
no, we derailed for a second, and then I went back to them.
We only got off topic once.
Yeah, that's right. Only once. Okay. That's unlike us. But the movie is good. It's great to watch. What was I going to get at? I forget. But
you were saying you used to see it sometimes and be like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think the last time I watched it, I was like, do I need to own that? But like me and my friend Joe, I even videotaped it on my phone and sent it to him, was that part where that's too fucking high, and he shoots, shoots
high prices.
Yeah. And
that's so
up,
good.
They blew up that Mercedes. They were like, that thing, we didn't know it was going to go so high. It went we were like, holy shit. But yes, Rotten Tomatoes critical consensus reads, quote, Robert Zemeckis' pitch black satire of American culture doesn't always hit the mark, but it's got enough manic comic energy to warrant a spin, end quote. So yeah, and Kurt Russell just being that's why like Big Trouble in Little China is good to watch. It's Kurt Russell playing, when he plays that other character, when he goes into the massage parlor and he's trying to be like, no, my name is, I need a girl with green eyes or whatever. He's trying to be that guy, and but totally not Jack Burton. It's really fun.
Yeah, just like, yeah.
But the Kurt Russell's always cool.
His son Wyatt, this is his favorite movie of his dad's.
Oh, that's cool. In this movie, did you see anything that you think Tarantino might have liked or used in a film?
Well, I'm not sure about that, but in a sideways way, this movie, though there is a redemption at the end, it's also, the redemption is still partly motivated by each person's motive. The bad guys stay bad. They're bad guys.
Yeah.
Something I think he maybe would have taken away from it is the rapidity of the action, and by action I mean all of the bits towards the first half of the movie.
Yeah. Well, and then something that I got out of this too this time, and it happens in Back to the Future and it happens here, where in used car, not that it's, I know the Tarantino question. I don't know. He liked the comedy, he liked the movie, he liked Kurt Russell, obviously. Um, but and also him being an Elvis fan, I could see him watching Elvis and then being like, what's Kurt Russell going to be in next? Like,
Yeah.
that was different.
Yeah.
Let's see this. But the directed by John Carpenter, by the way. The what I did get was, in Back to the Future. I don't know if you've seen it. It was made in '85, I
I've
think.
heard of it. That it's the big Broadway musical. Yeah.
Yeah. They're always like, we got to get Back to the Future. But it's the part when he's driving the car. He goes, okay, Marty, change and get in the car. You got to go. The lightning's going to hit
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
And so he gets in the car and he turns and it won't turn on. And he's trying to turn and you're like, fucking go. Like, what? Start already. And he bangs his head on the thing and it goes. It's the exact same. I could see that Bob Gale Zemeckis thing of the red car. He stops it. He gets out. You're like, dude, you have the only car. This is our safe car. You need to
Yeah.
take it. Like, come on. And he won't. And he's just sitting there. And he's like, what are we going to do? And then finally he's like, okay. And he gets in it and jumps at it. And now you're like, okay, cool. Like hero movie moment.
Yeah.
And so yeah. And Joe Flaherty again, using him. He used him in number 2. And number 2 of Back to the Future. My favorite part when he shows up and says, I got a letter for you. And you're like, what? Like when you're watching Back to the Future 2 for the first time, Joe Flaherty shows up and says, I'm with UPS. I got something for you. He goes, what? We've held on to this letter for 80 years or 85 years. And he's like, what? And he opens it up and it's, all old paper. And he goes to read it. And it's, I'm alive and well in 1885. And he's like, 1885. And, runs around and docks. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Way cool. So yeah. But also, could you imagine working at a UPS and you're like, can I deliver that letter? Like, that's the letter
Yeah.
we've had for 80 years. I get to deliver it. How cool is that? Our rating system here is 1 to 5, 5 being the best. Here we go. I rate this movie 3.5. Maybe I should go 4 out of 5. What do you give it?
I'm going to go for the gold here. I'm going to say 5, and here's why.
Oh, look at you, Mary Lou
I've seen
Retton.
this movie a number of times. What's that?
I said, look at you, Mary Lou Retton, going for the gold.
I've seen this many times over the years. It still holds up. Like you said, you've seen it sometimes and you're like, I don't know. I think I may have missed the screening at New Beverly because I had just seen it or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the year after I showed it to my mom. Because I think this is a movie, unlike E.T., which you should watch a little bit more than every 20 years because you're not going to get that many viewings if you do that.
Very true.
So this is one of those movies because one of the main elements of the humor is the unexpected. So I had forgotten about so much to do with the mechanic and with Jeff and just all the side bits and skits and stuff. And some elements of, like, I forgot about High Prices. I've totally forgot about High Prices. When the mechanic's playing High Prices.
Oh, yeah.
Or when the dog pisses on his face to wake him up. And he bursts through the door and he's like, motherfucker, I'm going to kill you, you stupid fucking dog. And then he finds out it was for a good reason.
Yeah.
But I mean,
well,
everything that guy says is great. But I forgot, if I'd remembered that he said, you're so fucking superstitious, I want to shove you under a ladder on Friday the 13th. If I remembered that, I'd be like, this is a good bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think comedy, there's very few comedies that I can see that like too many times or too close together in years.
Yeah, it's
but
very true.
It kills. I love it. It's so good, and what it says about culture when they're given the memorial speech, the improv thing after they bury him in the ground.
Yeah,
everything he's saying are basically corporate statements talking about products. It's all about products. And then when Kurt Russell is at his place by himself, he throws on like American Sousa marches as he's stuffing money into a thing. And I thought, it's funny, he always said, and I said, oh, right, because this is the filmmaker saying, this is America.
Yeah.
This is America.
Yeah.
And one of the things, pardon me, that I think maybe when they said it misses the mark, when I was on this viewing, I thought, I bet some people thought that some things in this were just ridiculous or farcical. because they were so predictive of later times. Like the
Right.
editing the commercial, I can see someone going, "Ah, that's ridiculous. They can't. How would they?" Blah blah blah. But and
Yeah.
it's a clunky edit too, which I
Yeah, yeah.
appreciate them not like making it smooth.
Yeah.
But of course, now there's a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really crazy about the AI stuff where I'm questioning it more where I didn't used to question it so much, but now I'm
Yeah.
really like, is that real? And then it's like, you see some video on Twitter of somebody almost dying, and you're like, is that real or not? And then you got to look it up and like, okay.
That's my rule now.
But
I'll look it up. There was something
right.
about a parliamentary meeting in a European country. I can't remember the name of, and it said big earthquake and blah blah blah, and it showed like basically a wall collapsing with a bunch of people in a gallery in the wall, so basically crushed.
Yeah.
I said what, and I looked closer, and something looked a little strange,
Yeah.
and so I looked it up, and I thought that's an AI video.
See, you're doing good things like Parliament. I'm looking at like, did this girl really die on the subway getting hit by a subway? Yeah, she did. This girl who climbed over the thing that says "Do not pass," like on
Yeah.
taking Pelham 123. She climbs over it, goes to all of a sudden you see her running back because it's coming, and it hits her, and then you see blood smeared on the landing right there, and it's
Yeah.
like, holy shit! Like, don't go there. Like, that's your fault. Good luck to your parents suing. Would
Oh,
you
and
buy?
to,
Oh, go
sorry, to
ahead.
complete why it's a 5 star,
Yes.
because the cast is incredible. The idea that this film was made when it was made,
Yeah.
largely due to the influence of Steven Spielberg, but also that Spielberg is a far edgier guy than a lot of people want to think.
Yeah.
And it's another example of that, but also the content, plus the performances, plus, again, the ugliness of the premise that these two brothers are in such a they hate each other,
Yeah.
but one is so ruthless that he's happy to cause the death of the other one, and he's gleeful
Yeah.
about it, and you care about the characters,
Yeah.
and the action stuff is good. A lot of times, unless it's the Blues Brothers, a comedy with a chase scene at the end, like Foul Play, is great, but my God, that chase scene just goes on forever.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, action comedies, when they're not primarily action films with comedy in them,
Yeah.
fail. This does not.
Well, that's like they did like when they did that fight scene, they said we got all that from like William Whitney type stuff. Did my thing come unplugged? Oh, no. Okay. Sorry. Can you hear me? My dog
What's that?
walked by.
No,
Yeah.
of course.
Like the fight stuff is like, okay, we had the real actors, they're rolling around, and then they cut to like the stunt guys fighting, and it looks like it's a cool fight. And and that stuff was cool. It's a thing of like, this was at the beginning of like all of those 80s like comedies, like you said, like, they didn't know that Airplane's going to come out, and now everybody's going to go, this is a laugh a minute, like what the hell, like we got to go back to see the jokes. But there are those things it's the thing that's why I play that part. People may not like the part that I play in the beginning of Quentin saying, I used to go see a movie 3 or 4 times just to see that sequence. That's my thing. Like, you watch this movie and that part of the mechanic shoving that guy in the car, like, it's funny and you want to watch it again. Or if you had somebody over and then like, you got to see Kurt Russell jumping on these cars, like you go to see the movie to be like, look, look, look. And or any, whatever movie sequence, whatever. But
It's jam packed with them. Jam packed.
it's full, and it's all that different stuff where it's just great. It's like I said, where it starts one way and then goes the other. But
and the tonalities shift throughout.
Yeah.
And on this viewing, I really noticed how brilliantly the exposition is laid out. You just see at the beginning Garrett Graham almost walk under a ladder, make a face like, oh my God, and then walk around it. And that slowly builds.
Yeah.
The rabbit's foot,
it's
the red car.
easily,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the red
he
car
even
thing.
when he's doing all the spilling, he gives him the rabbit's foot. So now he starts to rub the rabbit's foot.
And they give that like intimate friendship thing of like, yeah, you got it.
And
I want to help you.
Yeah, and he sees him like, oh my God, like he knows how important that is for him to do that, and it's really cool.
And just to add on to what you said, the other thing I love about it that would bring it up to 5 stars.
Mhm.
The amount of jokes in this that aren't like shticky, stupid things, but there's stuff. There's two of them going on at the same time sometimes,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And again, the things that were prescient without them really knowing it. Although probably they picked that shrinkflation speech for a reason because it's again about money and
Yeah.
how that affects everything.
But also it's the like that stuff of them making they make Michael McKean, he's like, yeah, I made that pacemaker. He's like, and they're having that conversation after they're discussing like, okay, they're going to break into the thing, they're going to do this. On an under conversation is David Lerner talking to Garrett Graham, and Garrett Graham's like, how much did that? He's like $12.95. He's like, 12 like for a pacemaker, like holy shit, like that's really good. And you're like, but he keeps hitting him, and you're like
Yeah.
waiting for Michael McKean to like drop dead or something, but he just keeps hitting it like, yeah. And it's just
Also,
put together
oh,
by
sorry.
weird shit. Like, yeah. It's
Oh yeah,
just,
there's this
wires
weird
and,
like almost occult looking electronic thing on his chest,
Yeah.
and the notion too. There's always multiple layers to their jokes. Like the notion that this guy who's clearly very healthy, he's probably the like most healthy looking person in the film,
yeah.
and he's clearly like at most 35,
Mhm.
that he would need a pacemaker. But
Yeah.
there's no explanation. And also, when they cut to the scene in the bar, or no, Airport Lanes, the bowling alley that,
Oh,
that
yeah.
he takes her to for a lovely candlelit dinner.
Yeah.
There is
Oh yeah, that guy watching the TV because
there's
he's
that,
gonna be
yeah.
he wants to watch Carter, and he's like, no, what are you doing? Like, I just don't want to watch. Like, he's getting in this argument with
Hey
that
man,
guy, and she's
I paid 20 bucks for this meal. Like, I don't want to hear the TV. It goes, have some respect. It's the goddamn president. But also, that man has a portable television set at the TV at his table, which it could have happened, but would it? But it's not. It's not too ridiculous. It's a, and then when he makes out with her for the duration of the ad, which is never ending. But the main thing for me about Airport Lanes is this writing device that I love. Every time I see it, there's got to be a name for it, but
Uh-huh.
he's telling her a long joke. But when we join the conversation, he
right.
goes, yeah, that's why I've been whatever is like a lineman for so many years. And she dies laughing. And then she goes, that is the filthiest joke I have ever heard in my life. And we don't know what the fuck he said, because if he said a full joke and she said that, we'd either be like, that's not funny.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
that's, it's like the Breakfast Club.
I was
when
just
Judd
gonna
Nelson is
say,
crawling in the
people.
ceiling.
I
Yeah.
remember looking it up, like, what is that joke? And John Hughes was like, I just made the last part of the joke. Was like, here's a punchline, boom. And I'm sure everybody stops fucking Judd Nelson is like, what's a joke? And he's like, it wasn't a joke. Like, I don't
They
know.
do actually. I saw an interview with him. He's like, I get that so often.
Yeah.
The other great Brat
Oh.
Pack thing that people got hassled with for
Mhm.
ages, Rob Lowe, and probably still does, got hassled and gets hassled about how St. Elmo's Fire is completely confused about what St. Elmo's Fire is when there's this big meaningful scene where he basically, he's explaining something to Jules, and it's too complicated to get into, but basically the definition of what it is completely wrong, and it's the title of the film.
Oh,
So,
wow. Yeah.
and he'd go like, I didn't write the thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. Well, that's like I was saying I did Thriller, A Cruel Picture on here. And in there, the director went and filmed some porno scenes and put that into the movie. And I'm like, this poor girl is probably like, her family is like, did you do that scene of you having anal and having sex? And she probably has to tell a bunch of people like, no, until now people know like, oh, I get it. You never see her face. You just see the body. Like, okay. But yeah,
And you know that
those kind
if
of
she
things.
has to explain that to 10 people,
Yeah.
3 of them are like, she's fucking lying.
Yeah, exactly. Are you ready for Phil's film favorite of the week?
Yes, I am. Please
This one
hit me
you'll
with your
like.
rhythm stick.
It's called Hustle from 1975. The tagline.
Oh, that's the story of how Do the Hustle was written. I
That's
love
right.
that
That's
film.
right. All
It's
it
3.5
is
hours, but
it's
worth every
3.5
second.
hours of this. Yeah.
And them writing in the studio, they're like, "Who's the hustle?"
Yeah.
And no, that's not gonna
Yeah,
be
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You
Well,
the hustle.
Who's doing
Yeah.
the hustle? Oh, do the hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
What about What's the Bustle? No,
Yeah,
Get
yeah,
Out.
yeah.
One
How
of
about we
yeah.
change the whole thing? No.
Hear It, Russell. Jesus, guys.
Yeah, yeah. How about we? Yeah, it goes to used cars. Russ, wasn't his name Russ? Anyway,
Is it Russ?
tagline.
You're not jacking me around, are you?
Now I
That's one of my
forget. Yeah,
favorite.
yeah,
That's one of my favorite things that you go, did anyone really say that?
yeah.
I don't think they did. Like in Fox's, they go, "Hey man, are you shining me on?"
I think I've
Did they
heard
say that?
"Shining You On." Yeah, yeah. I could
Okay,
hear
maybe
that.
that's
Almost like
it's.
gaslighting, like in a way, like a term of gaslight in a way, shining
Well,
you
no,
on.
I got like I get what
But
it is, but
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
usually it'd be
yeah.
like, Are you lying? Are you shitting
Right.
me?"
Are
Like
you
that kind of
shitting
thing.
me? Yeah. But anyway, the tagline for this movie called Hustle from 1975 is she the call girl, he's the cop. They both take their job seriously. Plot: the body of teenager Gloria Hollinger is found dead on a Los Angeles beach, and Lieutenant Phil Gaines is in charge of the investigation. Gaines learns that the girl, a stripper and prostitute, committed suicide, but he ignores the connection between her and a powerful mob lawyer, Leo Sellers. Hollinger's father, however, is not satisfied with Gaines' results and attempts to investigate the case on his own. I give it 3.5 stars. It's a Burt Reynolds movie. That's why I thought you'd
Praise
like
be.
it. And it's really good. It was one that
Catherine
Eric
Deneuve
sent
as
me.
well.
Yeah. Eric
I've
sent
seen
and
it.
what's the name? Oh, okay, what's the name does really good. Eric also sent me the press kit, and he says he's sorry that you
Sweet.
don't get all the Burt Reynolds press
Well,
kit.
no, I think he felt bad when you
I
were
was like Smoking the
despondent.
Bandit 3. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you were
was pissed.
despondent. You were
Yeah.
like, "Wait, how'd you get that?" Yeah, and I think I
Yeah.
said, "Phil, I think Eric just sent you a whole film studio." So
Yeah, because I was like making the grade. Where's my making the grade? But
and,
yeah,
I'm going to
which
scan that stuff to
again,
you.
like you said, nobody's ever said. Like, where's my making
Yeah,
the
no,
grade press
that's
kit?
what I said.
Yeah,
On audio, I said, Philip, no one has ever said that ever. No one
yeah,
has ever been covetous
yeah,
of a
yeah,
making the grade paraphernalia item.
yeah.
And I have that soundtrack, by the way, on Varese
Oh,
Sarabande, a label that
cool.
usually did like a lot of classical soundtracks. There's a whole side of songs sung by Shandy Cinnamon, who did a song on Flashdance, kind of an unknown at this point singer.
Mhm.
But that, and I have a poster that I sent a picture
Oh,
of to you.
cool. Yeah,
I
yeah,
bought it. No one gave that to me.
yeah. There you go.
But
You're
by the way, Eric
special.
Clapp, bless you, bless you, bless you,
Yes,
because he's a big sneezer.
but yes,
But
very nice.
thank you so much for your generosity and for keeping the spirit alive through your friends, the film fans. And
Yes.
there's a couple others. I want to go back to that other location. I'm looking
Mhm.
forward to getting because there's some movie clubs coming up
Yeah.
about those details to be revealed later on.
Cool. Yes. Have you watched anything recently? I know you haven't. You've been stuck there in your undisclosed location playing with the
That's
body of
right.
Art Bell. Um,
Well, actually, no. Uh, I showed Ada Up in Smoke.
oh, did you finish it? Yeah.
Yes, we finished it. So some background, folks, on that. When Ada visited me in Los Angeles, what Ada? How long? Or I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Can you hear me? No, it's okay. She has headphones on.
Yeah.
Um, December? Oh yeah, that's right. We did.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
It's as she said, it's only taken 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, don't sweat us on that. And it's an 88-minute long film. The
Yeah.
other film that we started around that time, I believe, also maybe 82 minutes. This is Spinal Tap. We have not finished it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't. And she loved
That
both
should
of them.
be, that might be re-released soon because of the sequel that's coming
I'm
out.
excited about
So
that. Also
maybe you
happy
guys
that on
could see it
YouTube you
in the
can
theater.
find the Criterion commentary, which they do in character, which is not
Yeah.
available on the MGM release. MGM, of course, the studio that screwed them out of so much money that they sued them for a lot, and I think they got a pretty
Wow.
nice chunk of change.
That's cool.
Reminds me once again, physical media. Stick with
Mhm.
it, folks, because I bought Spinal Tap because I have it on every format basically, and I bought it on Amazon. Then I went to show Ada the film, and I go, "What's wrong? I can't figure out Amazon. Where's my? I thought it would be in my stuff. Well, it was. It's not there anymore because of rights issues or whatever.
Oh,
You can
wow.
buy
Yeah.
something on Amazon, but good luck. Maybe it'll be there, and maybe it won't.
Yeah.
So those are the two. No, wait. I also watched the Last Embrace.
Oh yeah, that's
Recently.
is that what's her name? Or is that Tom Cruise or is that
No, it is.
Brooke
It's a
Shields?
late '70s. It's Brooke Shields and Willie Ames. No, it's Willie Ames was in that Blue Lagoon ripoff Paradise
Oh,
with
yes.
Phoebe Cates. No, it's a Jonathan Demme film from the late '70s, '79, I want to say, starring Roy Scheider, who I
Wow.
love, of
Yeah.
course, as many know, and John Glover, who, of
Oh,
course,
wow.
later
Yeah,
were in
would
52
be
Pickup
yeah,
together.
that's
And
cool.
speaking of which, 52 Pickup, nice movie club on that, featuring the one, the only Eric Clapp of Cinema Force, and my interview with John Glover.
That is gonna be sweet. That's gonna be
Thank
on
you.
together. That'll be
Yeah, yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
I
definitely. I'm
can't
going to
wait.
fuse
That's
that
awesome.
together. It could be two separate things, but it's so wonderful. And of course, I have that laser disc of the making of, and there's some incredible stuff in there that I'm so thankful to have been able to acquire.
That is cool. I don't have access to my soundboard, so I'm just gonna play this. I'm gonna tell you what's coming, and maybe we'll do a little coming attraction thing. So come
Yeah.
back on July 11th when I will be joined once
Bam, bam,
again
bam. Wait.
by Rob
Ba-dun-dun.
Tapp
Oh, sorry.
for I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry. Okay, let me do that again.
Take two. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Here
Come
we go.
back on July 11th when I will be joined. Okay, first of all, July 11th was when Used Cars was released. Like
Oh,
that's where I was like,
wow.
we could have almost waited one more week.
Hang on a
Um,
second. I was at a payphone booth at those lovely
and
ones in this
11, 11,
undisclosed
11.
location. Yes.
Oh my
And all
God. And
and
then the Jim Carrey movie came up and it was,
then I found a penny
numbers.
and a dime.
Oh,
And I said,
wow.
what
Yeah.
the hell are these doing here? And
Yeah.
that led to a whole other
And
thing.
then you
And
went
then
to make a phone call, couldn't find a phone booth. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, because they don't exist really anymore. And then I did go to the bookie though, and I'm
Yeah.
not sure what the results are or how much I bet, but we'll
You
reveal that
probably
soon.
got kicked out. Can I put 11 cent? Get the fuck out. Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, what the, yeah.
Yeah.
They actually went, you motherfucker.
Yeah. Come back on July 11th when I will be joined for the first time by Mike D of Real Black on Instagram for that's right. There you go. That's right. Charlie One Eye from 1973. I got to bring up a thing here. Hang on a minute. Where is it? There it is. I didn't write down the thing, but I'm going to tell you right now. Whoops. Charlie One Eye is about the plot is, are you ready for the plot? Okay.
I think so.
Although I told you it wasn't, well, maybe I told you off mic. It's okay. You should at least go see it. A black Union Army deserter and his crippled American Indian hostage form a strained partnership in the interest of surviving the advancing threats of a racist bounty hunter and neighboring bandits, starring Richard Roundtree. So, yeah. So
That should be, I'm looking forward to hearing that.
so that's coming out, and he was really fun to have on, and a black man to do a black movie with. It was so much fun. And what were you going to say?
I want to say that something we neglected to mention. This episode brought to you by Passport Scotch.
Oh, tell me more.
Remember the billboard next to the car lot?
Oh, that's right. Because I was like, Passport Scotch, was that a thing, or was that something that they put up?
I know. I wonder if it was
so
a thing. I got to
funny,
look it
yeah.
up. Plenty of Coors in the film.
Yeah.
Coors, the action, kind of the comedy movie go-to beer. Not so funny history of the Coors brand, by the way.
Yeah.
Just you go look it up. Look up Adolf Coors, okay, and look
Yeah.
up what that family, what they believe, and
Yeah.
How they've put a lot of money into very bad things. And I don't think it was just the pasteurization issue that prevented them from being in some of the northeastern states for a good while.
Yeah.
So with that, yeah. Oh, and by the way, Phil,
Yes.
hey, if you're not doing anything tonight or whatever, I got that new Barry Manilow album. So
I am so excited. Give me more
yeah.
plastic surgery, Barry Manilow. I need it.
I forgot.
Yes.
Another reason for the 5 stars, that answering machine. I want one of those with the reel to reel.
Yes. He was like, he goes, I had to ask how to use it. I didn't even know. But
Again, the exposition and the what do they call it? Like
yeah,
the dog food can in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
yeah,
That's what he learned. That's what Tarantino learned. He was like,
yeah,
wait,
there you go.
I
Yeah.
drop that in there and I don't address it. It's just a
Mhm.
mundane thing, but then huge
Yeah.
plot element. You see it a couple times. He's just checking his messages,
Yeah.
and then it plays a huge role in everything later.
Exactly. Well, being as we're wrapping it up now, because my wife's on the way home, where can people find you and all that good stuff?
Instagram is Craig and Friends Pod, and Craig and Friends, just search that on the TikTok because I forget. And sometimes on TikTok, they'll stick you with the username. That'll be like your username
Oh.
plus a whole bunch of numbers and things. But just look for Craig and Friends and you'll find it there. The TikTok is a growing because it's just, I haven't been paying as much attention to it. So I hear it's catching on though. And then on YouTube, which we've been doing some video episodes, much like Mr. Philip Duke.
Yeah.
So on the YouTube, Craig and Friends, and patreon.com/Craig and Friends. And then, of course, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this now. And where else? I can't tell you the location I'm at right now. But yeah, and let's see, there's a couple other places, but I can't think of them. But anyway, yes. And as you said, with my show, even if you haven't heard it, subscribe, review.
Yes.
And the 5-star review is the most sophisticated review. And of course, you, by dint of watching or listening to this, are a sophisticate. So there
That
you go.
is very true. Wise words said by a wise man. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. And thank the audience for joining us. We hope you had fun and maybe learned something. Yeah. What?
No. Thank you, Mr.
Mr.
Acabano.
Acabano. And maybe you learned something about a movie that may have had a part in making Tarantino. Goodbye. And then you say,
I just wanted to do some theme music.
oh,
for you,
okay.
man.
Well, I was thinking you could say bye, but that's fine. You don't.
Oh, no, I'll say bye.
Oh, okay.
Goodbye. This is Philip's new end theme song. We had a good time talking about a movie for really long. Oh, yeah, now we gotta go, but we love you. So, hey, thank you.
Yes, I would have
Thanks for having
jumped
me
in
on.
there, but you did so well. But thank you. All right.
Thank you.